Hey everybody, lovely to see you, or not see you, as the case may be, because no one seems to be having their camera on. But anyway, lovely to see that you're there. Yeah, hi, my name's Tommy D. I'm a music producer and a songwriter and a DJ and an artist. I've been in the music business for 25 years. I have worked with some incredible artists, people like Kanye West and Jay-Z, Katie Tunstall, Corinne Bailey Ray, Kylie Minogue, Tom Jones. The list is endless. It goes on and on and on. I'm still making music. In fact, I'm in the studio right now with Noel Gallagher. So that's very exciting. And I can't speak for very long because I've got to go back to the studio. But yeah, as Mariana said, I got into crypto back in 2015, fell in love with it, as we all do, drank the Kool-Aid, and believe in that this is the future, that this is an opportunity to create a whole new system, which, can bring some equality and freedom to, I think, all of us. I think we all love that concept. But I couldn't see at the time where it fitted with music until NFTs came along. NFTs, obviously non-fungible tokens, are incredibly important way of being able to sort of bring provenance and transparency and security to musical assets. I always say that an NFT is not a product. Most people think it's a product. They think, and I think arguably you could say that the NFT has done more for driving adoption into crypto than anything, really, because it does feel like a product. People think it is a JPEG or a piece of music or something like that. But it's, as we know, it's a bag of rules, and you can affect those bag of rules to anything you want. And so what we did, we sat down and we sort of deconstructed the music business. We looked at data, we looked at royalties, we looked at the combination of what we call the 3 Cs, which are creators, curators, and collectors. Creators create music, curators bring a kind of funnel that music into a presentable kind of package. People like DJs, A&R men, managers, that kind of stuff, influencers. And then we are all collectors, because we all collect music in one way or another. And some of us have a one particular act or style of music that we love more than others, but we all are passionate about music. And music, of course, means a huge amount to all of us, because it transcends all barriers. It transcends religion and gender and politics and everything. It doesn't matter who you are. If you're making something that people can enjoy and get off on, then that's good enough. That's good enough for most people. And so I was looking at how music and blockchain could work together. And NFTs were the answer, because NFTs can underpin the very essence of what the 3 Cs do, which is kind of integrate together. I talk about adoption and discovery and falling in love with music, and they work all together, the 3 Cs, to kind of bring that to us. If you think about me, I produce a track or I write a song or something like that, but I need someone to take it to the masses, and then I need someone to actually love it and buy it and support it. And that's what the 3 Cs kind of ecosystem works around. And so we decided to create a tech company, me and a bunch of all kinds of people, music business people, tech people, banking people, legislation, regulation. We knew that there was a need for all these different kind of characters. So we built a fantastic team of professionals who have now come together. It's kind of weird seeing a bunch of music people and a bunch of tech people and banking people all in the same room. It's quite bizarre to see it, to be honest. But we've brought them all together, and we sit and we deconstruct the music business as it stands at the moment, and we look at how blockchain can make every single aspect of that better, more efficient, and ultimately more rewarding for the 3 Cs, the curators, creators, and collectors. And we are starting with a marketplace. I like to call it a studio. So the Traxx studio is a place where creators can come, and we sit and basically look at everything that they do, look at all their assets, and we work out a campaign around what they are going to do over a 6 to 12 month time frame, around what they're going to do with an NFTs, what kind of vibes they want to do with the NFTs, what's their goal, what are they trying to do? Are they trying to do a sort of more exclusive one-to-one kind of collectibles? Are they looking to build their community and manage their community for sort of more VIP membership schemes? And we look at how we can structure it so that at that time, ultimately, what you're ending with is an extremely strong community of fans that are shareholders and shareholders that are fans. And if you don't need very many, there was an amazing article that was written back in 2008 by a guy called Kevin Kelly from Wired magazine, and he came up with a concept called 1,000 True Fans, which said at the time you don't need all these listeners and views and likes and whatever that we get from social media. You don't need millions of them, you just need 1,000 of them. And if you've got 1,000 people investing $100 into you over a year, that's $100,000 a year as an income, which to most people is a living wage, and quite happily, you know, puts food on the table and clothes on kids' backs. So I've brought that up today, and I call it 100 true partners. So 100 true partners is the concept that what you need is actually you only need 100 people in blockchain that can generate $1,000 a year. And by generate, I mean they're not exactly paying $1,000 themselves, but what they're doing is they're buying and trading NFTs. And of course, on secondary sales, a creator or anyone that's is in the smart contract can actually take an income from that. So really, actually, you need 100 people who are going to generate $1,000 a year to give you that $100,000. So that's our goal with Token Traxx, is to create a new system that runs concurrently with the old system of streaming, live gigs, that kind of environment which we all know and love, but can run concurrently with that old system. New system, as I like to think of it. And that new system is made for creators that are just coming into the industry, to give them a credible alternative, but also to work with the legacy music industry. 95% of all the singles of the last 10 years, top 10 singles of the last 10 years, are on one of 3 labels: Universal, Warner's, or Sony. And so it's really important to have that conversation as well at the same time, to work with majors to find a way to integrate their artists and their catalog into blockchain and NFTs. I'm a huge believer in blockchain. I believe it's a way forward, as I said at the beginning, that's a way forward for true financial freedom, for true creative freedom. So my goal our goal within Token Traxx is to onboard as many people as possible through creativity and through the creative arts into blockchain. And that involves a lot of very careful education and a lot of hand holding and explanation as to why, simple things about digital wallets, for example, and different blockchains and what the good and the bad of each one is. So yeah, that is our job, and that's why Token Traxx exists. We have a token generation sale. We got a sale going on next week. On Monday is our token generation sale. If you want to get in there now, you can get on the whitelist at tokentraxx.com, TOKENTRAXX.com. So thank you very much.
That's awesome. And Tony actually posted that in the chat section, so you can just click that link. So my question for you is, Tommy, in terms of, I love Mr. Kelly from Wired. He's like one of my idols in terms of figuring out how the world will work in the next decade or 2 decades from here. He created this whole idea of subscription and liquidity of subscription in content and media that, he talked about like maybe 10, 15 years ago. And here we are, that's kind of what's going on here. What kind of business models do you guys see for these musical artists in this new world? What do you think may happen in terms of some innovative ways that artists will generate revenue from their creativity?
It's a really good question. I think that the key is to build engagement and value in, look, the obvious thing is to listen to music, right? And this is something I think that a lot of people get a mistake. They're like, well, hang on, I can listen to music for free. Where does an NFT fit into this? Well, it doesn't fit into listening to music. Let's face it, it will do further down the line, and we can come to that later. But right now, you can listen to music for free. So you can't charge people for that something that they can get for free. So if you can't charge people something that they can get for free, how do you get them engaged in it? You give them value elsewhere, and you give them value in listening to it. So you actually say you can earn from listening to it. And how does that work? Well, you can earn by finding an artist early on in their career and buying their NFTs to support them. And because they're on the blockchain and because they have provenance and security and transparency, you can see that you were that person right there at the beginning. I use the example of I saw one of Madonna's, in fact, Madonna's very first gig in the UK at a place called the Camden Palace. Now, if I gone and bought a Madonna t-shirt, for example, from the merch stand at that time, 20 years later, or whenever it was, 30 years later, I would have a t-shirt. Great, fantastic. But how would I prove that I bought that t-shirt from that gig? How did I prove that t-shirt even came from that gig? If I bought an NFT of that t-shirt, then it would be on the blockchain, then it'd be transparent, and everyone would be able to see that I had actually been at that Madonna gig. So one can then trade that because it has value. I could have traded that experience, that concept that I was at the Madonna gig and I had the t-shirt. I could have traded that to anyone, any diehard Madonna fan who probably would have paid me 100 times more for that privilege. So that is, I think, a very key thing that I think differentiates where music and certainly where musical artists can see value. Musical artists always create a fan base. That is what they do. It's what, when you stand up in front of a bunch of people playing a gig, there's always, 5%, 10% that come back afterwards and, want to do a selfie and maybe buy a t-shirt or something like that because they really love what you do. They've gone that extra 3 or 4 steps further than everybody else that's in the audience. And you can build that. You can build that as a concept around blockchain. So that's a natural sort of community that's already being built. And I think that's a very strong difference between art NFTs and music NFTs. Music has always a community from day one that stands around it, whereas artists don't really have that. Artists is more sort of floating through the ether, doing what it does. But I think that music has this concept of community already ingrained very firmly into it.
It's just fascinating what you guys will be able to do with this platform, and you can have some early believers in token Traxx if you click on that link and join them as they start their journey on transforming the music business. Thank you so much. That was really fascinating.